So in other words, attention gets, you find attention being on thoughts of the past and attention being on thoughts of the future?
Is it, yes, do I find?
Yeah, you find that thoughts are, attention is attached to thoughts of the past and attention is attached to thoughts of the future. Is that what you're speaking about?
They generally fall into either one of those categories.
Okay.
Yeah, usually.
Okay.
Worries about the future, planning the past, etc.
Okay. See, for me, I don't really have the model that they shouldn't be.
So they shouldn't be
On thoughts of the past or thoughts of the future, because thoughts of the past only happen in the present. So right now, in the present, if there's a thought of the past, then it's just the thought of the past that I'm looking at in the present.
Mm-hmm.
And that's fine. I'm in the present. I'm present to a thought that's about the past.
Mm-hmm.
And if there's a thought about the future, then I'm present to a thought about the future. But the thought about the future is always here, now. And the thought about the past is always here, now.
Mm-hmm.
So there's no way I can not be present.
Mm-hmm. So you're just saying it's impossible for us to not be present.
Right. Now, if what you mean is I don't want my attention to be on thoughts of the past and I don't want my attention to be on thoughts of the future, then bring your attention to right here, sensation, bodily sensation in particular. Bring your attention to the sensations of your body.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Allow your attention to drop into your body.
Okay.
It's like, what are you feeling right now?
Oh, I mean, I'm not in the state now. It's a question about, of course, yeah, now I just feel great.
Yeah.
Feel expansive, you know.
Good.
My mind's quiet.
Yeah,
Feel
good.
Transmission's really strong.
Well, there you go, transmission, right? So transmission, contacting transmission right here, right now,
Mm-hmm.
is, what are you feeling? How would you describe the transmission that you're feeling now?
It's like a hum and warmth and energy. It's really strong on my forehead, but it comes in, well, now I'm feeling it's like down through my body and it's circulating, and it's really warm, especially warm in my dantian,
Mm-hmm.
and really buzzy.
Mm-hmm. Good.
My
So,
heart buzzes.
beautiful. So always just keep bringing attention to the sensations of the body,
Okay.
and that'll keep you present,
Okay.
you know, in the sense that you mean present.
Mm-hmm.
And don't, and I mean, I would say don't, you know, it happens. But I wouldn't recommend making thoughts of the past and thoughts of the future sins.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't recommend even thinking of them as like something that shouldn't happen. Because it doesn't really matter.
Or fear, like, so if I'm feeling afraid and worried, or,
Yes.
or if I have some, and I'm saying some that usually it's involves going, darting around from the future, past creates that. for me.
Yes.
So obviously I don't prefer to be in that state.
Yes.
I prefer to be, you know, because I often find if I'm in that state, then I miss
This is good.
what's in front of me.
So this is good. So why don't you prefer to be in that state of fear? Because you miss what's in front of you?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So,
And it's like yeah, I don't feel connected to the divine when I'm feeling worried or making up crazy stories.
so what does it feel? What does it feel like to be connected to the divine in that case? Like, what does that mean to feel connected to the divine?
It feels like this and expansive.
So right now you're feeling connected to the divine?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. And that's a sensation, right? Kind of a feeling. It's not a thought, is it?
Right.
Right. So it's sensation, it's feeling.
Mm-hmm.
So when you have thoughts of fear and you find yourself afraid, or you're thinking about past and future and you find yourself afraid, resisting your fear that isn't really helpful. And you don't have to, actually. Fear is a feeling, so allow yourself to drop into your fear, into the sensations and feelings of fear. And don't be concerned with whether the story goes away or stays. Either way.
So I can sometimes, the thought that would hook me is like, this is funny, I'm talking about this yesterday. Okay, so it's like the thought that if I don't address it, if I don't figure out what I need to address, then it's just
okay.
and so
Okay, so how to get to the place where you neither push it away nor cling to it. So this is how. If you have a thought like that, then by all means, and really, totally, get into thinking about it.
Okay.
And try to figure out what it is that you have to figure out so that you won't be afraid.
Okay.
Okay? Either you'll find out what that is, because there sometimes is something, or you'll, after a while, get exhausted and say, I can't figure it out, right? At least not right now. And then at that point, bring your attention to the sensations and ignore the thoughts.
Okay.
So always bring your attention to the fear. Find where the uncomfortable spot is in your sensations and rest your attention there. And then go back and forth. Or, see, it's not a matter of going back and forth, but it's sort of like exercising a muscle. You should, it seems to me that everybody wants to be free, but most of the time we think only in terms of being free from or free to. But we don't realize freedom should be free from and free to, both. Because it's not always comfortable. So what I mean by that is, we either want to be free from thought in our stories, or we want to be free to have our thoughts and our stories. We have to be able to do both to be really free. So drop into your fear and have your story and think about why you're afraid and figure it out and be as human as you can be, in that sense of the frightened person who is scared for her survival or for whatever and needs to take care of herself and needs to do everything she needs to do and cut this spiritual crap out. I need to figure out what the fuck's going on with my life. Leave me alone. That. Be that. Let yourself be that person. Okay? And then, so free to be in your story. And free to be Andrea, fully, as human Andrea. And free to be free of Andrea, that story, by staying in touch with the feeling and forgetting the story. Letting the thoughts go through. Both of them. And sometimes it's easier to get involved with the story, and sometimes it's easier to be free of the story. Letting yourself go back and forth between these. There's a word called Tantra. You've heard this word? It means weaving. So being able to weave between being without a story and being with a story. Owning the story, owning our humanness, and being free of the story. Whatever you experience, make it conscious. Allow yourself to do it consciously. And you'll have no problem.
You mean just
I'm thinking about, worrying about my bank statement. I don't know whether it's correct, and I don't know whether I've paid my rent and all that. I'm not going to drop that story. I'm going to consciously be that story.
and be
Take a hold of it.
And take hold of it and kind of go.
Yeah, whatever you need to do. Sure. You know, it's like this thing, I'm worrying all night. Oh, I shouldn't be. I should be able to drop my mind. And I'm sleeping, my mind's churning. Oh no, I should not be doing. Well, who says?
Yeah.
I'm going to consciously worry now. Consciously let myself, and I'm going to be aware of it. I'm going to be, conscious worrier. No problem. Doesn't look good on paper. Tantra never looks good on paper. This is a tantric path that I speak.